Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys, wherever you are in the world. For all the new people, I'm John, or JB, and I'm going to be doing some higher time frame analysis of what I'm looking at going into this. I will preface that with I am no financial planner or professional trader. For the new people, I used to exclusively do cheese trades, and almost passed, the FTMO challenge, got a little crazy, and ended up failing, and I haven't tried since, and then became busy with a thing called life, and ended up starting a new job, which is taking up a lot more time, so I'm now kind of changing the way I trade, and the way I'm going to do that is through higher time frame analysis. So with that, briefly, before we get into the charts, I'm just going to show what I'm looking for, really what I'm looking for. So we have some sort of congestion, and we see impulse. It can be in either direction, right? And then what do we look for? A pullback, right? Then we want our V formation, and then some sort of test. But what do I look for? I look for zones in the V formation where there's trapped buyers or sellers, okay? Because basically I'm looking to place an order. I don't have time to sit and look at all the charts, okay? The one thing I don't want to see is an aggressive test that's going through these zones, okay? Right, and then we hit it and go. And we'll be looking at test one. If we get maybe trade test one, if then a test two comes in looking to add a position or something like that. Okay, that's kind of the frame that we're gonna go at. We're not gonna manage the trade. Like once we set it and we enter, we're going for it. Unless something happens where it's going up and it just goes down. It hasn't quite spiked us out, but it doesn't look good. We'll get out. Okay. But really, I'm not going to move the break even or lock in profits until we reach this high, or unless I see some sort of zone that I think is going to cause some issues. Okay, but for the most part, it's going to be around. That was ugly. Around here. Okay, that's the whole goal of what I'm trying to do. All right, so that's the trading plan. Okay. That said, actually I can just do this. Let's get into it, okay? All right. So we're starting with our big boy time frame, 4 hour. What do I see here recently? We had a strong impulse that we breached above this area. Okay. All right. And what you'll notice, I'll have everything color coded with the writing out here, so you'll know. So we had a breach. Obviously, then the guy who started is right here. Okay. Right, price then came up and pulled back, but if you look at the 1 hour, there was no real pullback for us to get in. Right, it just held, breached higher. Right, and as you can see, we came down, broke past the guy who started it, held, and now have gone on. Okay, all right. So, where are we right now? Price. We are in a 1 hour, 4 hour seller's territory. Okay. However, what I see here, all right, is a daily buy zone or buyer zone. Okay. Now, if we look at the 1 hour, right, you can see price is pulling back. It breached, went lower. We had this nice push down and then immediately snapped up. Right. What's this look like? V formation. Okay. V formation in a buyer zone, on a daily buyer zone. All right, so what is the main thing that I'm looking for on this pair, right? What would get me interested in a trade? Well, as you see, when this came down, right? When these came down, the sellers, right? They pulled back, tried to go, and then you can see the buyers just kicked in. What does that mean? We have some trapped sellers, right? Sellers tried to sell, right, on this pullback and failed. Okay, so what do I want to see? I want to see a test down to this area. Okay, and I don't want to see anything aggressive going through, right? I just want to see price come down, tap this. If it taps this and we have a nice strong green candle, I'm going to look to get in. I'm going to be looking to go up here, right? I'll be getting a test one, see what happens. If this breaks all the way through, it's going to, and then we had a nice strong push through, then more than likely we'll be good to go up here, okay? There's going to be stops along the way, as you can see here, right? We'll manage trade accordingly from there on, okay? Another thing that could happen, it could hit, right? We get in, it goes up, and then it can come back down. That is also ideal. If that's the case, and we haven't moved our stops anything, or we might take some profit up here if we see it, right? Because it's not going to be this instant, right? There'll be some time for this to develop. Again, patience. We need patience on higher time frames. What do we want to see again? Another tap or another couple taps, right? And what I mean by taps, right? If we look over here, this was a trade that we could have taken. So you could have looked at this one of two ways. This is all one move up, right? Pull back, that's the V. Or you could have looked at this as price came down and then just started slowly grinding down. Buyers kicked in, V. This could have been a test, right? You have traps, sellers here, right? So if I draw this again, right? Oop, so sorry guys. Come on now, right? Look at this. Came in here and gave you some stuff, right? Some entries. Could have gotten in, right? A little below. Look up here, price came up, came back down. Look at this, tapped it a couple times, right? What's this telling us? Price can't go below this, right? We could have entered another position. You know, we could have rode that up, okay? This is what we're looking to do, right? So it does work. There is reasoning behind it. At least I believe, right? Nothing's ever certain. All right, so that's what I'm looking at here. What else could happen? Okay, what else could happen? Again, this is a sell zone, right? We are in seller's territory, right? On our 1 hour, 4 hour, right? In the, I want to say traditional sense, but if you go verbatim of what they teach in MPA 1.0 or MPA 2.0. Okay, so what could we see? This could be just the first leg of the pullback of a sell. Okay, so then we could have this coming up. All right, we could get a V formation up here. Get a V formation. And then we see some sort of test up to this area. I'll be looking to sell down here and see how price reacts. Okay. So you got to be willing to go both ways, right? This is why you should forecast and kind of see what could happen, assuming we have these areas marked out correctly, right? I think we do. All right. So that's what I'm looking at on this pair. Another pair that is very similar that I am liking is New Zealand USD. Very similar setup, okay? This push down is not as strong, right? But again, we have a nice impulse up where we have breached this area, right? Which is now, I will say, a buy zone, right? And it's this whole area again, right? So you can see we had the strong wick. Price came up and held right here. This would be the breach. Okay, oop, wrong thing. And then the guy who started it would be here. Okay. So here's what I'm looking at, guys. Very similar story, okay? So price was over here last week. Again, this was a potential area to buy from and take it up and make good profit. I wasn't looking at this, and this is actually the second time I've recorded this. OBS failed on me. So I told you I had a big intro. I'm now moving past it. I'll say a few things at the end about where I've been lately. All right, so what happened? We had this impulse up, pulled back again, couldn't get in. Price came up again and held here, right? And then what happened? Impulse down. Looking at the volume, nothing too impressive, but impulse down, and now price is holding below the guy who started there, okay? So what does that mean? That means we are in seller's territory, okay? Seller's territory. However, similar situation, we have this daily buy zone from this impulse. Nice move up, right? Nice move up. What happened? We had a channel into a range, and now we're pulling back, kind of a thing, right? So again, what am I looking for? Well, we have this V, okay? And what happens? We have an area where we have some trapped buyers, okay? Similar situation, guys. I want to see price come down and struggle. I want to see these sellers struggle. I want to see it tap. Price come in here, do whatever it wants, or just tap. If it taps, right, we have a nice like doji candle, I'll be looking to hit it, okay? Looking to be getting in. Again, where am I going to put my stops? I'm looking here, and then I add 2 pips. That's part of my plan. So I would make this 201, right? And then if it's only one tap, I'll be looking to see what happens when price gets up here. Price could go up and it pulls back, and we get another setup, get in. If price comes up here, right? Say we're in the position, again, price went up, and then it starts coming back down again, and we tap again. Just like that one example, I'll be looking to add position, okay? If price starts going in here aggressively, be looking to cut, all right? So then what will I be looking at? Again, how price reacts here. Ultimately, I won't be doing anything till we get up here. This is where I'd be looking to take my first profit. All right, to take money off the table. I'll probably be looking, if we come up here and we get this kind of situation, right? Once we get back up here and break above it and hold, I'll probably move my stops up there, okay? That's my game plan going forward on this pair. All right. What else am I looking at? Let's just take this. Again, on the other side of this, what can happen? Just like the other thing, this could be the first move of an uptrend, right? We got plenty of room up here for price to pull back, okay? And then similar thing, what do I want to see? Some sort of V, and then a test to this area, right? Not breaking above the guy. If this breaks above the guy who started, I'm going to be looking for a pullback for a buy, okay? That means this whole uptrend is continuing, okay? If we get this, I'll be looking to sell down to here, if not down to this buy zone, right? Somewhere in this area. All right. Again, if you guys have questions about this is just how I'm viewing. If you have a different view, let's have a discussion about it, okay? I have the new channel. I believe you guys can write in it. If you can't, send me a message, and we'll get it fixed, okay? This is the first time I've created a channel in a Discord group. All right. The other 2 pairs that are not as high priority are EURUSD and Pound USD, okay? So why are these not as high priority? You can see overall the price action looks very similar, but a little different, right? Because the other ones we are breaking some sort of high, this is barely breaking it, right? So really what we're seeing is we have some sort of breach here, right? Breach, it breached here, breached, and then what happened? Okay. Held above and then came crashing down, right? So basically, this might have just been a stop and not necessarily a full breach, okay? And then price is kind of just holding here. However, if you look at the one out, we kind of have a V formation, okay? Again, this one is very situational. This one I'd be more inclined to see some sort of pullback for a sell. However, if we see this, we see those sellers kick in but are weak into this area, I'd be looking for a buy. Okay. However, these are not as high probability for me. Why is that? This impulse, right? You see these impulses? This is weak, right? Push up, pulled back, and rested. Push up, rested, right? If you look at AUD, strong movement, right? In New Zealand USD, strong movement, right? Where the other ones are going like this, right? Look at this. See this? See what I'm saying? That's why they're not as high probability to me. Okay? Not saying it won't work. I'm still showing you what I'm looking for, but not as high probability. Okay? So again, very similar setups. This one's even more clear. Euro USD, not as clear. Okay? So I might not even be focusing on it. I have it drawn out here. This is kind of how I'm looking at it. I do have an area set, what I'm looking at. We do have this buy zone, right, where price is pushed up multiple times, okay? We did have a sell breach, so waiting to see what price action tells me, okay? We do have this kind of V formation. We've got to see what happens. We do have a lot of volume at the bottoms here, right? Saying there's some buyers like bottom here going up, right? So there's some good signs, but we need to see some more, okay? We need to let it unfold and see what happens. Same here with the British pound, right? Again, we had breach above. Again, these are not as strong, right? They're pulling back, right? So then we had sell breach. This little pullback, you can't get in. There's no way to gauge this, okay, and get in safely, right? And again, we have this area, and it looks like price might be pulling back. We'll see, okay? Again, this V, not quite 100%, right? So again, it's a wait and see situation. All right. So the other pairs, and I won't go too in depth. I'm not going as in depth because my focus is on these two right now. And again, guys, this might change. If I find that I have more time this week, I might look at other pairs and see what I can do. Okay? But I'm trying not to spread myself thin by looking at 28 pairs when I don't have as much time as I used to. I hope that makes sense. So why did I pick these pairs? These are the major pairs, right? If you look it up, these have the most liquidity, right? If you look, these things move. And when they move, okay? So, look, this thing's just been in an uptrend constantly. Then we had a big downtrend. This is Corona. Well, actually, no, that's June, right? June just corrective, right? So correct, goes up, right? Little range here in a lovely month of August, but we probably could have gotten some trades in there. Okay, as far as CAD, Swiss franc, and JPY/USD, I'm just going to show you my analysis that I've already done and kind of describe it. For USD CAD, we had price kind of holding here, right? It was channel and then range. This would be on the daily. This would be a zone on the daily, right? Where it breached. And then kind of 4-hour breaches all the way down. This is kind of where I have it now. It breached, held, might have been a sell here, came up, and there was definitely a sell opportunity in here, right? You might have had a V, or you can consider that your V, and then you had a test back up here, right? And then, but we have this buy zone here, right? This is a big impulse, so you have buyers down here. You can see prices reacting from there. Right, so right now, no trade, right, because I think one's going on right now. So what would I want to see? For the sells to continue, I want to see price get below this, right? Or what do I want to see? See the buyers kick in above this and hold and give us an opportunity for a buy maybe to up here. All right, again, this could take time to develop. That's, again, not high priority. That's what I like to see price action do. You gotta wait and see what happens. CHF, very similar. There was a buy opportunity in here, but Again, I wasn't around to see it. We had a guy who started. We do have this sell zone that you can see price react from quite aggressively. So again, just waiting to see what happens. Technically right now, it is holding above this. So it could be a breach. Guy who started then would be down here. All right. So we could see maybe if we get buyers stepping in, and then we'll might look to do a buy, but we're very close to the sell zone. So ultimate, what I want to see is price get above this and then pull back. Okay. This is what I would want to see on this one. This large wick means we might be ranging for some time up here though. Okay. Just got to wait and see what happens. All right. USD JPY. We've been looking to sell this one for a while, guys. I know Mike was. I know a lot of people. Some people actually tried to go for a buy just because of the news. The way I'm looking at this, though, we had some strong sell impulses, so I think some sellers are around overall. Overall, it looks like we're in kind of a downtrend, right? So, look, price got up here, came down, so I took this as a breach. We definitely have a buy zone where once price gets down here, buyers are picking it up, right? But they're kind of struggling on their way back up to this breach line. You can see that we might have had a V. This might have been the first test. Don't know yet, right? But you can see price looks like it's coming back, but this might take off. The only thing I don't like is how strong this is with some volume, okay? Volume's not quite here with these sells, but we just want to see. So what do I want to see? I want to see price come here, hold a bit. I want to see some wicks, right? Let me know buyers are struggling, and then maybe look to hit it and go here, if not lower. Okay. All right, guys, that's where I'm at so far. This video is 22 minutes. Hopefully you guys like it. I don't know if I'll be able to make them any shorter. But to get back to what I was saying, because I missed my whole intro on the last one, as I've been on a little hiatus, just because I was looking at guerrilla trading, but ultimately I'm going to keep looking at UF style, urban Forex. And the reason I was looking at guerrilla trading is because, to be honest, they've pumped a lot of people through the FTMO challenges, okay? Now, if you're someone who is on the lines where everything has to be A plus B equals C, very linear thinking, right? It might be a good opportunity for you to go check them out, okay? I'm not saying that or to be negative towards UF in any way. I think ultimately UF is the best way to trade. Because from backtesting their strategies, I can tell you that there'll be times where you're looking to buy or sell when you're in either a large downtrend or a large uptrend. It doesn't make sense, but what they do is they make you backtest a ton their strategy over very specific pairs. That way you can prove to yourself and then see and formulate your own trading plan, and you know the exact statistics. To them, it's a statistics game. That they know that 30, 40% of the time they hit it. When they hit it, they're, multiple R's. I will say with their strategy, the way they get like the 20R trades, they have to take several different positions. Okay? But basically they're trend pullback traders, just like us. They just view price action a little differently. And it's a little more pattern-esque, right? Whereas we look at what the buyers and sellers are telling us, right? We're looking at the story, right? The story. Sellers pushing down. Buyers coming up. Sellers pushing down. Buyers coming up, right? This is what we're looking at. And so we know overall we need to be selling. So what are we looking for? We're looking for signs for the seller to come back. None of that, okay, in Gorilla. So it's what I don't want to see you guys leave. We love the community. I love this community. I've learned a lot. We're trying to help out as much as we can and give back. But just know, like, no, we're not pros here, but this is a community where we can grow together. We want to see everyone succeed. Okay? With that, ask as many questions as possible. We try to give the best answers that we can. And there's a lot of good people here. Okay? And back to that, with UF, like, if you look at some of the trades that Mike take, and there's some other people, the R's that they'll get on a single trade, risking 1%, will dwarf what you can see at Gorilla. But if you want something that might seem, if your thinking is linear, then they might be better option for you guys, okay? And I say that because I don't want you to leave. I'm saying that because I want you to succeed. And there is other options out there. You just got to be careful. But Gorilla is a good one. And I will say one thing that they do better as a community versus Urban Forex is the man who's equivalent to Naveen puts out 3 videos a week detailing how he trades or what he was looking at. Kind of like what I just did. Okay? Obviously, he's a professional trader, and I'm not. Okay? But then he'll do 2 recaps and let you know if he actually got in the trade and how he managed it and what happened, and then what he's looking at moving on the rest of the week, and then he'll do another recap, etc. Okay? Before I sign off, what I want to say is backtest as much as you can. It's harder if you're trading lower time frames to go all the way back too far, but even if it's just going back over the pairs that you were looking at and just backtesting that week. Maybe you missed a trade and you're like, oh, dang, go back and see how you could have caught it, see what you missed, okay? Post-analysis of your wins and especially your losses will be very valuable, okay? I do that constantly. I was backtesting the previous week on these pairs, but as you know, I was on a hiatus. That's why I missed. You had a trade in here. You got a trade in here. There's multiple trades we could have had that would have netted some good money. Okay? Another thing, if you're new and struggling, don't trade your real money. Make demo accounts. And then put in a realistic amount of money. That's one thing I will say to do. All right? So say you have $1,000 that you want to start trading. Your demo account should be $1,000, and then you can get a real grasp and treat it like it's real money, okay? And document all of your trades, and then post analysis, right? Ask questions, okay? Don't be afraid to ask them here instead of UF. I mean, some of the answers we've been getting lately from what they say at UF is crazy, okay? Don't be afraid to ask questions. If us as a community don't know, we'll figure it out. Okay? With that, hopefully this was beneficial to you guys that wanted higher time frame analysis. I will put into the watch list the pairs that I'm looking at and kind of why for a quick kind of look at them, and then kind of keep an update through there if I enter any trades or whatever. And then if I have time, maybe I'll do a recap on one. I'll definitely put a post analysis on a trade that I take, just so people can see what I do for the new people. But so far, that's all I have for the first episode of JB's higher time frame analysis. Now I'm going to get this video up so you guys can see it. Take care and stay safe, everyone.